someone said, how's Bae Juice going, and he just said, I'll just Google it. When you're going into IGAs and independents first, like for us, we're going, just take it. And if you sell it, pay us. And that's how we sort of went about it early days.
Guys, you would have run at a fucking loss. So every time they scanned, you would have run at a loss because you didn't care about this. So there's so much more that goes into it than TikTok views and PR and the branding stuff. This is hardcore numbers. We're like, hey, man, you reckon you could introduce this to all these people? He's like, how many stores are you hitting a week? And we're like, 10 or 20. He's like, you should be doing that a day. He goes, if you go and hit 50 stores a week for the next month, that's 200 stores, then I'll help you.
Really have to create momentum. It won't happen just by, sending an email to a couple of stores. Like, you have to force that shit to happen, and people just want to sit back and switch on an ads and build a website and be like, where's my money? It's not fucking like that. Yeah. It's not, unfortunately. I wish it was.
The reassuring thing to people listening is that if you do that for 3 or 4 years, then you find your role, you find your rhythm, and you can take a day off. You don't get days off at the start because we put in the hard yards, we've built an incredible team, an incredible system, and a really great operation, and now we can do that.
All right, so this, you'll see in a second, a very high energy, very fun podcast. We've got the two of the three founders of a company that is absolutely killing it. They're called Bae Juice. They're a hangover cure. You drink it before you go out. They're in over 3,000 retailers across Australia. They've just expanded into 500 odd in the US. They're absolutely killing it. Multi-million-dollar brand. The boys are heaps of fun. You'll see what I mean very, very soon. You can't miss their energy. Now, quick favor before we get into the podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, do me a favor. Again, I ask every week, but it takes 1 second of your time and really helps us and the podcast grow. The bigger the podcast gets, the better the guest, the more value, the more entertainment I can bring to you. So drop a like if you're watching, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell notification so you see every episode that we upload. And then if you're listening on audio, please do me a favor, just drop a 5-star review or 4 or 3 or whatever you think, but drop a review. Let me know what you think. I really do appreciate it. Let's get into the pod. All right, so anyway, we had some technical difficulties, just like myself saying the word. Let's just jump back from Timmy starting the story, how it all happened.
Yeah,
you go take your nap and we'll wake you up.
Done. So 2018, went to Korea for the first time to meet Sumin and her whole family, drinking all the crazy Korean booze. It's never ending, blackout kind of shit.
Because it's like stronger alcohol content on average than what we drink
like,
here, right?
It's like a 7 standard drinks in like a stubby. It genuinely is. So you drink that quite quickly and you've had 7 stubby. So it catches up on you quick. But
that's a mid-strength shit as well.
But on the way home, we'd stop at 7-Elevens, convenience stores, and Sumin and all of her crew would grab these little cans of drinks, these little green vials that had green all over it. I'd grab a beer, being Aussies in Asia, being like, fuck yeah. And all the drinks that they were grabbing were Korean Pear Juice or Korean Pear Juice with liver function or Korean Pear Juice with electrolytes. And they just had this fridge like we do Red Bull of hangover cures. So I was just completely obsessed with it after night one, after that beer and pulling up shit house. So then I started drinking all of them and I kept waking up feeling really good. And I sort of thought it was the you're on holiday, so I don't get hungover. You know, that feeling, which is a beautiful feeling. Just waking up and
you never get tired on holidays. You just every morning is
nothing to do today. When you're in Paris, you just have a dart in bed. It's great, a holiday hangover. But yeah, so then started smashing Pear Juice, was obsessed, woke up really great, and then Googled the shit out of it. CSIRO, Seoul University, Sydney Morning Herald did a clip on it, and I was talking about the enzyme inside the pears, Liam mentioned before. It helps break down alcohol and give you less a hangover. So I was obsessed. Being like, it's natural, tasty, cheap as shit, and helps you hangover. This is liquid gold.
When was that CSIRO article out? It was like not too long before you guys launched, a couple of years, a year
just a few years before.
In fact, the day our first container arrived, there was a big article in the Australian newspaper I was talking about like hangover cures, and there was a couple of paragraphs on the Korean pear. So we were like, fuck.
Perfect timing. So it was nuts. So we came back to Melbourne, obsessed with it. We went to find it in any stores, Korean stores, Japanese stores, Asian grocers, you name it. Couldn't find it anywhere except for like a couple of pouches here and there. Brought them all, got samples over, gave them to my cousins, your family, on our group chat, sending who wants this. And we just did this crazy market research. I've got 55 first cousins almost, Irish Catholic, so just pump them out. So Christmas, I was handing out this strange Asian sachet to everyone. Everyone's pumping it, saying, what the hell was that stuff you gave me? I'm a barista by trade, so I'd sit there, give a latte and a Bae Juice, just this random Korean drink to customers that I knew were going to go send it on a Friday. Yeah. Come back, what the fuck was that stuff you gave me? It was unbelievable. And I'm like, well, sweet, we're on a winner here. Like, we could definitely put this together. And 6 months after first consuming it, we're back over, rolled into a random pear farm
So you went back over specifically to now try and see if you can source this stuff for yourself.
Yeah. So took another couple of weeks holiday, went over. Sumin's dad's like, I've got this. We'll find a manufacturer. And then her mum's listening to all of us trying to figure out. She's like, idiots. Like, I grew up in the main Korean Pear area. Leave it with me. She makes a few calls. We're on a bullet train in the morning, get a bus. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere, go to this giant facility, and they're like, yep, like we're down. Like, we've been trying to export this. We've been looking for new opportunities. Whack on a hairnet, get some gumboots on, and let's go have a tour of the facility. And I was 23, covered in tattoos. Sumi's got piercings in her face.
Are they a bit like tattoos are a bit iffy?
Short back and sides, green like suits and they're just working in a manufacturing facility.
Because even like in Japan, like they're still a bit, with tattoos. Was it like that for you as well? Everyone like, a bit funny,
a little bit. Like they're just starting to come to with it a little.
Tim's sitting in the meeting going, this is how many Aussies are, this is how much piss we drink, and this is how many 7-Elevens we got, basically.
Yeah, that was it. And I was on an A4 bit of paper I printed the night before. We better roll in with something. And they're like, done. Oh, that was fucking easy. And then sort of fast forward 6 months, we built a brand. So Bae means pear in Korean.
Yes.
So to figure out our name, it took about
2 seconds.
Literally a couple of hours pitching Sumin. What does this mean in Korean? What does this mean? Oh, why don't you just call it Bae Juice? It means pear juice.
When did the word Bae start becoming like this thing? Was it around that time?
That was the kind of thing. Like
it started fizzling, becoming lame after Drake had overdid it. Shout out Drake. Great for the show.
I think it was sort of like that. Like we sort of asked Sumin, what's the Korean word for pear? And she said, Bae. We're like, spell it for us. It was BAE. We're like, done, sold.
Done, yeah.
And then before anything else, you drink the product before, but that was never part of the marketing.
Well, we didn't know. Like, Tim's got a cafe with his family, and we just thought Bae was, that sort of pet name for your girlfriend or whatever. And the girls at the cafe, and we're like 24, 25, and they're like, oh, don't you know it means like before anyone else, before anything else? And I was like, nah.
So is that really what it stands for?
Well, supposedly.
There's a lot of rumours floating around and we've got to get to the bottom of them.
Well, I just got off a call with Anthony Albanese and he confirmed it for me. So,
hello. Thanks, mate.
So he's a great friend of mine. No, but that literally would have taken us 5 minutes. And then obviously as, we get educated more on the word Bae, we sort of fits perfectly, right?
And then we wanted to re-own it as well because it sort of fizzled. And then we're like, oh, that's done to dust now.
So
now we can be the Bae people.
Okay, yeah.
So we sort of took that in our stride and tried to make it our thing. And then.
So what we're trying to say is that the word is still cool because it's our brand.
Well, it had a dip, but you've brought it back.
We brought it back. Yeah. A little dip.
On Drake, there was like in school, he's the guy sitting out there actually is one of my best mates. Like been best mates since like year 9. And he got like every night you get the schoolies like shirts with like all the number and shit.
Yeah.
He got YOLO on the back of his thing and he's hectic. He was this close to getting a tattoo, but he's like, I'll probably leave it. Thank fucking God he did. Could you imagine that?
We'll bring YOLO back.
Should have got it.
Maybe our next shoe can be called YOLO.
Yeah. So all right, tell us the process. We'll do some backstory, but while we're in Korea, let's stay in Korea. How do you then, as two guys with like minimal business experience, a couple of loose units, rocking around, having a good time, sign a deal with like one of the biggest, pear exporters or manufacturers in South Korea? How does that happen? Like, was it that A4 pitch and they're just like, something about these guys I'm going to take a risk on? Or?
Yeah, their direction was amazing. They were like, look, we are willing to facilitate everything you need from a product side of things, manufacturing and units, and to work this out and export it. But you guys need to go and build a brand first, get the website, have a retail strategy, figure out all your commercials and your pricing. And we worked with numbers together and we went back and for 6 months we built the brand. Our first brand was gold, green and yellow because we're like, let's be like nature, It's natural, man. We met this marketing agency, which we didn't sign on with great advice, going, fucking boring. It's called Bae Juice. You party, you bend it, you go out, you two are dickheads, perfect, make it pink.
Yeah.
And so we went out, made it pink, yellow and blue and stuff. And that was kind of the first step. And we set it all up that way. And we still had no idea what we're doing. Counting
was this
stuff
like your
was a bit of a mess.
Brand sort of business that you guys have built?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. The first one that really took off legs, we used to have a couple of ideas because we were friends for ages and we go, all right, let's set up Tim's spare room as an office. We'd go to Kmart and buy all this Anko bullshit, right? Set up the office and be like, sweet, let's go drink beers and do nothing. I think one of the things that's really, really assisted us with the career is behind America, the most patriotic country in the world is Korea. So we've actually had
an opinion, like it's insane.
You look at the
special,
stats, but the fact of the matter is we've had a lot of press in Korea, and I think a lot of it is around how proud they are that this natural fruit, exclusively grown in Korea has been exported to another country, and that country is obviously Australia as well. And there's obviously good relationships between Asian countries.
So is it a nashi pear? Is it a different kind of pear? Completely
different.
Green pear's bigger.
I was only introduced to nashi pear in the last 12 months, and it blew my mind.
Yeah,
favorite fruit I've ever had. So they know something about fruit over there. That's
yeah. But the cream pear's bigger, juicier, and helps you hangover.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But I guess like with that process as well, so that was really put on us to go and do that work. And it was a bit of a early partnership kind of thing as well, being like, let's go see if they do it. You know what I mean? Like a couple of young kids, with a lot of enthusiasm, sure, anyone's seen that before, but let's see if they go and deliver and come up with something fucking half decent. And so we came back, pouches,
how long did you have in between that? We're interested. Go build a brand around it and we'll have another chat.
6 months.
We've done pretty quick.
Yeah. Like from legalities and shareholders agreements and setting up bank accounts but even making payments to a cream manufacturer. Like, how do we do this? So this is where so
they don't take USD. They take
AUD.
Oh, even better.
Because we were like, we know what we're doing. We want to do this. We got all these great ideas and cool. We'll help you.
Yeah.
So they've literally and a lot of lame people say it's more of a partnership than a commercial agreement, but it legit is. From all that accounting stuff to all logistics and everything, we've just figured out everything together because they were like, we've never exported this to halfway around the world.
So
we don't know how to do it.
There's been
we don't know how we're going to pull this off.
That's the thing. There's been a lot of lucky. We're not sitting here going,
we're geniuses.
We're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it this way. They've just gone, we're thinking about doing it this way. And then 6 months later, someone's gone, geez, you're lucky they said that.
True.
Honestly, that's what's happened for us.
You guys got an exclusive agreement. Was that from the start or was that after you guys have sold, okay?
Only a few wins. It only took a few wins and a bit of legwork and stuff. And then we said, hey, we've got a really good feeling about this. It's all starting to snowball. Even at very infancy,
that's right,
thank you, stage. It was small, but they were like, okay, no, we back you. We want to give you guys a bit more oomph.
What are the startup costs to set up a business like this? It's a little bit different to just private labeling something from, Alibaba.
For sure.
Bit different. So how do you guys get the funds together to do that as just two blokes?
That's a good story, because it's a doable story. When people think they've got to quit their job, start a business, it's not a very good idea, I don't think.
Definitely not.
It's a shit-ass idea. But essentially, we're putting the 3 of our wages in weekly, right?
Yeah.
So I was making $700 for working 50 hours a week at a cafe. Sumin something similar. You were doing real estate at the start. So collectively, we had $1,500 a week as a pool of cash.
Nice.
So we'd save up for a couple of weeks, $2,000 website. Save up for a couple more weeks, $1,500 shareholders agreement. Save up 2 more weeks. There you go. We've got a lawyer to sign everything off.
That's the 6 months as well, the stagger.
And it really was. And they were founder loans. They're still on the books as founder loans. You know what I mean? So
of course,
it's almost like savings, without any interest, which is awesome. But it was just little nuggets at a time. And then a bit of family and friends at stages, like Sumin's dad watched it all unfold from South Korea. We couldn't figure out some of the banking with the first order. We needed to get it over summer. We wanted it first week of Jan. It's Aussies drinking, everything. And we just didn't know what to do. And he's like, fuck it, I'll find it. So he paid for the first container.
Yeah. Shout out to Sumin's dad.
Yeah, huge shout out. Doyan Huan, the man. So he got it on the water. He got it here. We paid for the logistics, borrowed some more money, and then we had 40,000 units arrive at
it's a pretty big fucking first order compared to a lot of, I started with 110 units.
Yeah, there you go.
Fucking code. Still 40,000.
At the time,
I'll take 40,000 IPL handsets, please.
Yeah.
At the time, it sounded like a lot, but now it's just like...
But we had a lot of help. So what we did and what we still do every minute 5 years later, we talk about it every day. Mm-hmm. Not fuckheadly, like we talk about what do you do? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And you try to relate to what other
business, man.
We try to relate. We try to relate to other people with what we do, right? Not, flex it all the time. But at the cafe, everyone was like, how's that thing going? How's that juice you got? And so we're getting consultant with the guy that owns Bell's Ice. It's every ice cube you've ever consumed from a servo is owned by the family that comes to the cafe every day. Yeah. And he'd sit and read the paper at the back and have a screaming hot cappuccino.
He's from Melbourne, right?
Yeah. So he'd have a screaming hot cappuccino at the back, and I had no idea. Thought he was a bit of a bum, really. Looked at the form guide. He circled stats about footy and stuff. And he's like, how's that juicy going? I should get my sons over. And we all sat down together. He goes, so we own Bell's Ice, and we sold frozen water.
You're a billionaire from frozen water. It's crazy.
So we sat with them. They're like, we're trying to get some dollars out of them, trying to get some help. And they're like, well, it's all in or nothing. You can give 10,000 away. That'll get you going. You get stuck with 20,000. Who cares? The price will come down. You've got it there. 18-month shelf life. What do you got to lose? You got no kids, no mortgage. Fuck it. And it was like, sweet. So we had all this advice from people, and someone else was in logistics at the cafe. Then someone else is like, I'll take some and give it to my friend. And so all of a sudden we're just like building it literally from a little suburb, just building it out like this. And that was some of the advice we got.
Proper bootstrapped, right?
Yeah.
Proper bootstrapped.
And we took on their advice and we executed on it.
That's what happened at the start. But I will say recently, I'm going to throw Tim under the bus here that, and I will say, give him a minute out saying we'd had a few drinks before, but someone said, how's Bae Juice going, and he just said, I'll just Google it. There's been a bit of press.
There's never context of it, but like I'd explained to 3 other people at this event, and I was just like, done.
Oh, dude, I fucking hate it.
I couldn't do it again. I could not do it again. And I just instinctively been like, you'll get
just
more.
Google it.
You'll get more info on there than you will from me right now.
Yeah, it's not the worst. Like every time you bump into someone and they'll be like, oh my God, I saw like, how's the business going? And you just get to the point and it's like, no disrespect, but it's like, fuck. I've already told this story 10 times tonight.
Yeah,
sick of the sound of my own
Google it or
voice.
ask that guy. Yeah.
Because I've always thought like
let this Rolex tell you how it's going.
It doesn't work, but it looks good.
It's fake from Bali.
But I've always had this thought, like just on that sort of side of things. Whenever I think to thank like our family and everyone that's been involved over such a long time, it's for just having to fucking listen to it all the time. Not just the financial, or the stress or everything. It's just having to listen to us talk about it all the time. So, we're lucky.
You started with 40,000. Last stat I heard was like you produced or sold 2.5 million. Where's that at now? Like
we just cracked that. We'd actually never thought it. We'd actually never thought about like, how many units we've done?
Crazy.
And we're sort of on 30, or we're sort of mid 30 containers now, 40 containers of stock.
So you send them over container at a time? Just a quick one from me. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you'd know that after scaling Happy Skin Co. to over $10 million per year, I spent close to 18 months creating the Viral Brand Builder program, which teaches someone with zero experience how to launch and scale their very own e-commerce brand. With over 100 training videos and direct access to me, including one-on-one calls, you'll be guided throughout the entire process. Now, we already have a bunch of incredible results from students that are making multiple 5 and 6 figures per month. So if you want to learn how to build a business that has the potential to completely change your life, then click the link in the description and book in an application call today. Spots are limited as you'll be speaking directly to me. So hopefully I'll chat to some of you soon. But until then, let's get back to the podcast.
Well, like, and there's obviously a bit of a heavy period around sort of summer and everyone drinking. But it's what you said before. It's like 40,000 units sounds like a lot, but in the scheme of 2.5 million.
It's nothing.
And we look at that and go, fuck, we've only sold 2.5 million units now. In a way, we go, that's great, but it's like, we want more. So it's like, if someone said to us at the start, you're going to sell 2.5 million units, we'd go,
we thought we were going to have 20,000 left.
But now we're in that stage where we've done that. We go, fuck, it's not enough. We've got to sell more of it. So,
It's pretty wild to think about.
Like, so from the 40,000 you sampled, how many individually? You were sending
at least 60% of it, I reckon, went out.
But just about
of it. I reckon.
Yeah.
And at what time at what point in that do you start noticing like a bit of momentum starting to build, people starting to come and you're like, well, where's this coming from?
Well, we had a Daily Mail article, and this is when we still got all our stock stored in at a self-storage unit. Yeah. And then we had a really big kick in sales. We weren't really, had a big presence in retail. And then from then we started sort of going store to store, little independent IGAs and things like that, that had liquor aspects, attached to the store. And we start getting those, and then you start pitching so I reckon, did we get our first retailer, like Dan Murphy's trial, with our first sort of shipment, or was that second? I reckon it was second.
It had to have been,
So we would have gone through the 40,000. And when you're going into IGAs and independents first, like for us, we're going, just take it. And if you sell it, pay us.
Yeah.
So it's like,
full
put it
consignment
on the
model.
So
counter.
they were sweet with that.
When you go into a store manager who it's their 9 to 5 and go, mate, and they're stacking shelves. They really don't want anything to do with you. They're like, what is it, mate? You go, just put this on the counter, please. And if I call you in 2 weeks and you sold out, then you pay me and we'll start ordering more. And that's how we sort of went about it early days.
So the IGA, like the independents, do they usually own, like, is it like one person owns one store? Do they own like a few each? Like because it's like if you go on store to store, like how do you grow that in the early stages?
There might be franchises where there's like 2 or 3 and then, there's a bigger, but the higher you go with people owning 10, the harder it becomes to get range. So you might as well go to the person who's just, it's the manager's decision. You just got to go there.
But we'd email people being like, hey, do you know anyone that owns like 60 of these? Like just looking for shortcuts. And they're like, no. And we actually spoke to Steve Chapman who owns Shine. Shine Drink, we had that, which we love. A great product and he's a great dude. And we're like, hey, mate, you reckon you can introduce this to all these people? And he's like, how many stores is he hitting a week? And we're like, 10 or 20. He's like, you should be doing that a day. He goes, if you go and hit 50 stores a week for the next month, that's 200 stores, then I'll help you. And then we went and hit 200 stores, started getting results. We never hitting them up because we started getting busy. So I was like, fuck, you really got to do the time. And then we had people hit us up going, oh, geez, have like a little in on like 50 stores just to get us started. I got 50 stores. We're going to do every single one of them with the hatchback. That's brutal.
So you're rocking up in person with a little
you're rocking up.
Hey, mate.
I've got stuff on LinkedIn from years ago of me and the manager of this IJ.
Shaking hands.
Shaking hands going,
there's your first deal.
With your fake Rolex on. No, but that's the lengths you got to go to with these, like, because at the end of the day, not the easy bit's getting in store, but because you're small business, you're not on a platform where they go and make all their orders a week, from an ALM or Metcash. Yeah. So the hard part is not actually getting in store. The hard part is following them up and being getting paid? How's the stocks going? Getting paid, but how much stock have you got left? Oh, you've sold out. Great. Because we would have gone to stores and been like, I forgot about going there.
Yeah, and after a 5-day week of work, full-time work, thinking, we probably should go back there.
And you sold out there, but you give them a business card and everything at the start, but at the end of the day, they go, that goes in the bin. The product goes on the shelf.
The product goes in the bin.
So that's the hard bit, following up.
So what do you reckon off the top of your head, like, was the success rate of like getting at least them to stock you at the start?
Well, that goes back to my point. I reckon it's quite high. Yeah. And we were lucky in the sense that we could go in and be like, mate, like there's nothing like this on the shelf because it's very unique product. And at the end of the day, because someone buys our product, they're not going to not buy another product or, so it's like they might get a case of wine or a 6-pack of beer or a slab of beer and this will be a basket filler.
Yeah, it's an easy sell.
So our success rate was quite high, but then again, like making sure that sort of stockist had actual stock.
And how do you go to like legitimizing that process, right? Because like you can't just drop in and do everything completely manually or start getting too many. How do you?
You quit your job.
Yeah,
as a start to.
Was that were you the first one to quit your job?
Head of distribution.
I went and quit my job.
I still work at the cafe.
I went and quit my job and went and work at his cafe.
Yeah,
so on weekends. So I had that Monday to Friday, and for the first like 6 months of doing that, I didn't fucking really do much of it. But then sort of like in reality,
we're not getting any sales. Probably should do something.
That's because I'm doing fuck all. But anyway, so then you start going. So it's like. You come up with a spreadsheet, you follow 80% of the spreadsheet. It's like there's no right or wrong answer.
Did you get many people not payers or was there a lot of chasing up and dealing with that sort of drama?
Well, that's the other thing. Then you got to have payment terms and you don't know what payment terms are.
And to be honest, that's so many invoices so you're going, fuck it.
Like
$49 right now for that box means fuck all.
Yeah, 100%. Like we had new accountants like take over recently and there would have been like probably 70, 80,000 that was like owing for us, right? And you're like, what, that IJ in Track Road in Melbourne? It's like, that's from 3 years ago. You're like, they've paid that, I'm pretty sure. Just clean it up, like.
So when does it change from like, you two running around, knocking on doors to like, okay, having like conversations with like Woolworths and big groups and stuff?
It really changes when we've get on board, these retail consultants who.
I'll say you partner with like, is it a distributor or they're just like advisors, consultants?
They're just consultants that do.
Shout out to George and Christian from Thrive Collective Consulting who do brands nationally now.
Yeah.
But their idea was they worked for Coles, Woolies, worked in logistics and things like that. And it was kind of like, we see an opportunity to help really smaller, just starting businesses like us crack that market. And so we were their first client.
Yeah.
Really?
And this is like,
and they only took 50% of the business
Yeah.
as well. Wow.
And we this is sell our souls for it, but
but this is commercials. Like, so this is like petrol that, is distributing from their facility to ours. This is, per every decimal has a lot of meaning. And we almost said a couple of things through and they're like, guys, you would have run at a fucking loss. So every time they scanned, you would have run at a loss because you didn't care about this. So there's so much more that goes into it than TikTok views and PR and the branding stuff. This is hardcore numbers.
Yeah. The reality
0.01 stuff.
The reality is our experience with running a business is that we had no idea what to do about any aspect, any pillar of the business at the start, right? As we've slowly learned, right?
You really nailed that in. Yeah, I think I got it.
but as we've slowly learned what we need for that pillar, for marketing or for retail, whatever it is, we bring it in-house, right? So at the start, it's like, let's do this because we have tried to get with the Dan Murphys or get into Woolies, right? And they've told us no. And the reality with these big retailers is they say, nah, you're not for us, but they don't tell you why. So next time you go, you don't know what you did wrong last time, right? So whereas George and Christian were able to help us understand.
What was the early feedback? Because there's a lot of people listening that want to get
that's the problem. There's no feedback.
No. We have a beautiful flow. Flow for you.
Yeah.
We pitched Dan Murphys as our first retailer. I said, absolutely not. This is making Australians want to drink more alcohol and we don't want to condone that. We said, no worries. What's our strategy here? We jumped on Dan Murphys online and we sacrificed about 30% of our e-commerce margin and we pushed every single person to Dan Murphys to purchase there.
So they were willing to give you a shot at least online only.
Yeah, but anyone can get online. We could get online tomorrow with an idea.
It's an endless shopping aisle. You can.
So it's super easy. So then we targeted everything towards there. And then sort of 3 or 4 months later, we dabbled saying, have you seen the results here? You should see how e-commerce is pumping, let alone yours is pumping, which is like we were, tumbleweeds over here. And they're like, okay, look, it looks pretty good. Christian and George organised like a nice little trial and we got a 10-store trial. So no, absolutely no. Online, committed and punched it. We're giving people advice, other brands advice this as well, and it's definitely worked for them as well. Pumped online, got a trial. There's 5 stores in Sydney, 10 in Vic, and we just punched it. Not just ourselves, but everyone was so excited for us, and there was a nice sort of inner city distribution. Yeah. And we did really well. Like we thought we were going to have to buy it all, and we got some results back.
When was this? Like, what sort of year is this sort of stuff?
2019, I reckon.
Okay,
wow. And there was 5
in the old world.
Yeah, and there's 5 stores in Sydney. We're like, oh, they're going to flop. We're just
can't send our mates.
Yeah. And I had one cousin here, and she's like, oh, I'm away for that 5 weeks. I'm like, great. And then we performed really well. Like we performed really well on those 5 stores.
So where were they putting it? Like
and that gave
countertop or?
Oh no, we were all in fridges at the start. Fridges. And one flex we love to say, but then also like deflect from is that we actually outsold Red Bull in those stores over that sort of 3-4 month period that we had a trial. But at the end of the day, who the fuck buys Red Bull from Dan Murphys, right?
Statistically, not many people.
Sounds good.
But it's good, right? We're putting up it's an international brand saying we're smashing them.
Yeah. So that was our headway to greater retail distribution. So we had 100 IGA stores, which we micromanaged.
So that was all done by you guys, like one by one almost with the IGAs.
Yeah, the IGAs and stuff, cafes, health stores,
even the
Foodworks.
16 Dan Murphy store trial is like we are sending those individually out to those stores.
So direct to store.
Direct to store.
Yeah, you're not going to DCs or anything like that.
No. And then peak COVID, our retail consultants go, well, the Woolies range review is coming up. Let's have a crack. Yeah. They come back, said, look, we're happy to take you, in all our stores, 100% distribution.
But to jump on what you said before.
Where do they put you guys in the aisles? Where are you guys?
Just the grab and go section, cold fridges, near Perky probiotics and Remedy and stuff. Yeah. But to jump on what you said before about like we're the only people selling what we sell. Every beer guy comes and says that, right? Like, our beer is lower carbs, it's better for the environment, lower CO2 emissions, better margins. Everyone comes in and says that, right, in a giant saturated market. But our deck, like it says like, there's not one other person in the current giant island we live on selling this juice.
Is it still the case, or have you started to have people?
There's one little minor one that's like in a couple of stores that are just that double the price and struggling.
I had a look at. I was obviously doing my research and. Like,
Sorry, I always
I think there's some people bidding on Bae Juice. I saw that.
That was so good.
Can't have myself.
So
Fuck it.
So good. That was so good.
But yeah, so that's like the way you delivered it before. I was like, you really fucking believing on this. No one else selling this. You can't get this anywhere else. And just listening to him say, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's glory days. Like that's how hard we went in there.
Yeah.
And then the bias in these big places, like we want to be the first in on this then. And that's what happened with Woolworths.
They want to be exclusive as
well.
well.
At the start they did because we had no data, no numbers, no brand recognition until we had some of the PR. And then one of the girls at the cafe making coffees and she's like, oh, have you seen all the Bae Juice TikTok? No, I like don't even have the app. She's like, oh, you guys have got 1.7 million views on your hashtag. And there's just all these TikToks. And one like PT guy being like, this stuff is the best. I drink it all the time. Not an ad. Don't even know what this brand is. I just brought it. And I drink it every weekend. Got, 250,000 views, 4 years ago, 500 comments and him going, it's only $4 in the chilled section at your nearest Woolworths. Hey, yep. In the chilled section. Only $4. And you're like, holy shit. Wow. This is brilliant. And like when you get into Woolies, you got to hit some averages, right? So we just landed it. They backed us.
How does that work? Give us a bit of context.
Well, you go in and you say, this is what we're going to do, right? And then when you don't do that, they go, well,
strike one.
What are we going to do about it? And we go like half price promotion. We give them $25K for this sort of marketing exercise that, surely doesn't work, but apparently it worked.
Yeah.
Half price promotion. And half price promotions are great because you see a half price promotion and people go, well, they must be struggling. But it's actually like those tickets at Woolies work.
Yeah.
Like people buy those, they go, so it's actually a very cheap way, but also you're making money. Rather than us giving out 20,000 units, we're still making a little less margin because we're selling half price, but people are buying them and just going,
and those discounts
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Brand funded, like funded by you guys? Or do they
split, I think, unless it's confidential.
I don't know. It could be. I'll tell you what it is, but it's fine. But it's like, so we do two types of promotion. We do a deep promotion, which is from $4 to $3 at Woolies, and a shallow promotion. So for every sort of cent or whatever, we own 50%. So if we sell 50,
right. Some retailers are like, you fund everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
We love Woolies. Shout out, great friend of the show. We love you. Please.
So all right, that makes sense. When do you guys? When's this US? You got like 500K in investment, kind of recently in the last year or two, something like that, and quarter to the interwebs.
What was that, 15 months ago, maybe now?
It's a long
back end of 2020 a little.
Yeah, probably 18 months ago now.
So how do you expand the retail stuff into the US? Is that like boots on the ground, you're over there meeting people, or do you find like a good partner?
Yeah, a couple of trips over there. My cousin works in sort of the finance space over there who had a friend, good friend over there who works in VCs, and then they've got a connection who, obviously works in Australia here, Trav, who helps us out with a lot of stuff, but it was sort of like our ticket into the US market. Should we try this over there? Yes, we should. Let's do some research. Again, there's pills, there's things you mix with drinks. Is there anything ready to drink for hangovers? No, there's not. Well, that's us. Let's go in there. And probably like Tim, we could admit, ironically, like the reason we started Bae Juice is because there's a company in America called Morning Recovery.
If you speak at him, I don't know if we're going to hear.
So like one of the main reasons I wanted to kick Bae Juice off in Australia was a company in America who did a drink called Morning Recovery, and that was an ex sort of Korean guy who started this sort of drink, used to work at Tesla and Google and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was a really, like, at the end of the day, if you're starting a business, whether it's CPG or whatever, and you don't have America on your whiteboard going, let's expand there, you're in the fucking wrong game, right? So let's have a go. What's a good time to start in America? Well, we don't know, but let's just do it
now though.
What would you say?
We were actually speaking about this earlier on a couple of our meetings, and a lot of people just go for it, raise money and just absolutely go for it. But like, it doesn't really work. And we're so impatient and optimistic and just let us fucking go at it. But we had a lot of advice going, no, you've got to start small and make that small thing work. So just
in New York you started?
Yeah, in New York. So we've got distribution of potential 600 stores in our portfolio that we've got. We're in about 150 now.
Are they localized? Like, you're trying to keep it local?
Yeah. Bodegas, Brooklyn, all that sort of area. And the idea is just to make like proof of concept. Like over the December it was snowed in. Don't go outside. There's snow everywhere. So it's not really good to go get 600 stores. So we're just honing in to make that work.
Yeah.
And based on the timing of when's a good time to launch in the States, we started finally paying ourselves a wage. we'd brought our marketing in-house, kind of mentioned before. PR we do internally, which was going really well at the start.
So all those articles you've got was like driven internally?
All of it. We had a 3-month campaign with the PR agency and they did fantastic. They got us on Channel 7, a couple of news snippets, and it was December. Great time. But Forbes, Daily Mail, news.com, all of it was just off the back of us.
What's your process on doing that?
Yeah,
like a lot of people think you can't do PR yourself.
Tim's very good at it.
The agencies charge you a fortune as well. And they say the same thing at the start of every meeting. These are all the media outlets we can get you. We just can't guarantee you any. But we can get you in all of these, right?
Yeah, but if you'd like to pay $6,000 a month, go ahead.
So it's kind of brutal. So we took the approach of, again, based on our confidence about what we're doing, our product, our story, is like we have an amazing story that people are writing about garbage because they don't have content to talk about. It's pretty hard. Imagine trying to write shit about shit all the fucking time.
The editors have to fill up.
They have to. So they're talking about freaking Guinness World Records of a dog lying about his age, which we were talking about the other day. Like that's what it's come to.
But then the great thing is like, who's better to pitch our story than us? So Tim hits up an editor or a journalist going, hey, this is how we started this bloody company, right? I met a girl on Tinder, blah, blah, and that person's going, oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, sure.
It's a start, middle and end, a photo and a website. And that was it. They'd see it and I'd be like, fuck, what have I got to lose to follow up? Like they've seen it. I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't message him. I don't want to be annoying.
So where are you messaging him? Like
on
Instagram
LinkedIn,
or
LinkedIn. And then I'm sitting there going, fuck. We'll put all this money in, bent our ass over backwards to this blood, sweat and tears. Fuck it. Hey, mate, you see what I sent you above? Enter. Buddy, I'm so sorry. What a sick story. I lost this in my email box and I hadn't seen it. Thank God I followed him up. Broadsheet, done. Urban List, done. All of them just popping off all of a sudden. And I'm just hounding him. And you send 4 to one editorial and one's like, oh, sorry, I actually just talk about fashion. Hit up this dude. He'll love to chat to you. But you're sitting there thinking you're annoying him. Like, you're like, oh, do I hit you up?
There's nothing to lose
by doing it. Nothing to lose. And then they go, sorry, our editorial's full this month.
The best thing about LinkedIn is like when you add someone or you message someone, it's not like, you know, the old Facebook days where you're like, I don't know you, or it's Instagram where it's like, you know,
like a bikini photo. You're meant to say it.
Speak for yourself. You know what I mean? It's just LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn. There's no shame on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So you just go bang, bang, bang.
And when they haven't read your email, you go on their profile and it says they viewed your profile.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's fantastic.
It's one of the greatest tools ever is when no one replies to you, you go on their profile and it goes, Tim O'Sullivan viewed your profile. Oh, shit, I didn't reply to that guy. It's like a little trigger.
I turned that off because I don't want,
Turn it back on.
I've been on your profile all week.
I just want to sleuth around, you know? No, but the thing is with that, I remember now, like, if you can turn it off and no one will know if you've been on theirs and vice, so it's like, maybe I could turn that back on.
Yeah, but that was our main little thing we did. So, we brought it all internally. Australia was running really watertight.
And so to find these, like, sorry to cut you off.
No.
You're just like looking at articles and a lot of the time they say article by blah, blah. Like,
so you find the people I'd Google Daily Mail and I'd read all the articles and it'd be like, Asahi just acquires blah, blah, blah. And you're like, alcohol, beverage, startup. Let's go hit up that person. Oh, actually, I'm writing for here. And so then we started, but then we've got a really diverse angle and this is what we're doing for the States. It's industry-related stuff.
Yep.
So people hearing about logistics and the retail approach, then it's lifestyle, a hairdresser, a real estate agent, a barista, launch a hangover cure. And then it's more like hardcore business stuff and entrepreneurial stuff. So we got so many pillars and it's so many different audiences. So the industry related stuff, we had 3PLs reaching out to us, battling over prices, begging us to join. After industry-related PR. Lifestyle stuff. Tim, would you like to collab? We're doing a brand awareness campaign with all these influencers. All we have to do is give us stock. Oh, sweet. Usually that costs $8,000. Done. There you go, 300 units. And then the other entrepreneurial stuff is, hey, are you guys looking to raise? Do you want us to give you an appraisal? Do you want to talk about your value? And that's just all from PR. The Forbes article, he reached out to us on our, I shouldn't give away our secret here, but he was reading all the articles about our race. And he was seeing us everywhere.
Reach out to us on our website, info@Bae-Juice.
So as a website inquiry, he did the longest piece ever on us, start to finish. And then that's what we're doing a big raise now, which we can touch on. The 2 lead investors there screenshotted that article and sent it to each other. And like, that's that fucking drink we're drinking when we're away. I loved it. Whoa. And they're all reading it and they're going, done, hit them up. We had meetings with them. We're going through all the process now and we're 98% of the way there.
So what's
from that article?
Pros and cons of taking on investment? What do you think?
Well, the con obviously is that your equity dilutes. That's like honestly,
it's such a good idea. And then you see the new dilution. Like,
do you not feel like? I feel like the other con is like, fuck. Now I got to report to people.
No. But see, that's where I think we've been like rather good. Like you can kind of
lucky.
We
haven't done a VC route once
that's
yet.
It. But we take on
Family
investment, and you can kind of go.
Yeah.
There's people that are investing in the brand, but also in Tim and myself and Sumin. So it's like we're not there to be. Thanks very much for the money. This is how we've explained, obviously. But this is how we've explained.
Execution of that.
We're going to sort of put the funds towards, but we don't want someone over our shoulder breathing on us, going, nah, don't like that, don't like this. Like trust in us. Invest in us first, then invest in the brand second.
Sweet. We don't have the time to fucking bother you, right? This is going to be perfect then.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we get to with investment, where it's like people are believing in the direction we're going. So there's not so much there's not so much controllingness, and then obviously people who have money to invest in businesses obviously have a repertoire of connections. So there's obviously benefit for us that you can go bang, 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 speak to that person, speak to that person, speak to that person, and go for your life.
So 2024, like growing in the US is a big priority, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to do the whole PR approach. We can't do it ourselves because we don't know the lay of the land as well as we do here. So we're going to work with someone collectively to do all that approach. But the same thing, exactly what I spoke about, the pillars of all of our different articles, we're going to try and repeat over there.
And so that pitch, when you're sending to a more like logistical one versus is the pitch slightly like is the pitch different to each person because you want to be tickling, what they want to hear?
Bootstrap, backed by potential billionaire and blah, blah, blah. Like that's the lifestyle stuff. The industry related stuff is they've done 35, 40-foot containers of tiny little sachets, bootstrapped it. This is there.
That's one thing we've had to adjust to in the US because we went over a couple times to two sort of CPG expeditions, right?
Producty stuff for listeners, CPG.
Right? And, one of them was in Philly, one of them was Anaheim, which is like Disney World, and that's it. Right. And you're walking around, you're going, oh, you guys are like a probiotic soft drink. And we're in 4,000 stores here going, we're fucking killing it. Right? And we're going, hey, how are you going with your product? They're like, oh, we're going all right. We're in 9,000 stores. And that's just the scale of America. Oh. And they're going, how many stores are you in? We're going,
what was that, mate? Coming.
So I got a call, but the vast scale of it, like this last expo we went to was like, size of, football, the MCG, or, I know we're on a Sydney podcast here, but
the MCG is just down the road, mate. Put some respect.
But they are hustlers over there.
Oh, they're hustlers. And the best thing about America is it's like, I think with Australia, with their tall poppy syndrome, it's like, oh, I don't really want to help you because you might compete with me, where it's like such a family over there that we went up to competitors, like what you could consider as competitors, and be like, this is where we're at. And they're like, you should speak to them. You should speak to them.
That's cool.
That's nice. What we loved about it. It's a very
you got to adjust as well when you're talking to Americans. Like, how Australians, everything, like you play it down.
Yeah.
So, everyone's like, you get introduced to someone like, oh, these two boys have done something awesome in Australia. Like, it's not that big a deal. It's all right. In America, you do that. They're like, who the fuck is this here? You have to be like, we're fucking awesome. This is what we're
let's go. But we're also guilty of that here in Australia as well. You look at someone, you go, I like their brand, but fuck you for the success you've been having. You know what I mean? Whereas that's
don't mean to.
No, but like you don't need to. But that's just like, I don't know. It's just the culture here.
Yeah, it's weird, huh? It's weird. It's very weird. But anyway, Australians. I don't know. So would you say that you guys are a retail first brand, or where's Ecom fit into this sort of piece of the puzzle for you guys?
That's our next phase.
That's the final frontier.
But it's like the classic, let's go all in on retail. Oh, fuck, I've got Ecom. Let's go all in here. Oh, shit, that's lapsing. So we've finally got a nice balance now. Ecom's just doing that nice little hockey stick we all dream of, or at least screenshot and put on decks.
I'd say it's very natural to go where the momentum's going, right? And for us, for years, it's been retail. And I think, honestly, e-commerce is something we've really neglected. And for a few reasons, but one of the main reasons is Australia Post are hopeless, right? That they are. Like, so in America, we're doing stuff online, and it's there. You can go from A to B, which is across the country, it's a big country, right? In 2 days. Whereas here, we're sending something from Melbourne to Sydney. It might take 8 days, right?
Painful.
For inevitably AusPost to bugger it up anyway. You know what I mean? So like for America, they are so far ahead of us for e-commerce. So I think that's one of the main reasons we've neglected.
But we've got new ideas to just You can't just have it sit there. So that's why we're doing the new merch. We're going to include subscriptions once our new website's done. Mm-hmm. So you get a slab dropped off once a month, whether it's a share house to say 3 of us live there.
I was going to say, you're drinking a lot if you're on a slab once a month. Yeah, just
but it's a bit of a share house thing.
Yeah.
Or our house.
Or a wedding.
Yeah. Pre-wedding.
That's the next stop, partnering with wedding planners.
It's funny how
everyone on their desk has a little Bae Juice there on the table.
A lot of people do reach out to us saying, we love your product, but I'm getting married or whatever. And we
have free shit. Fuck.
You can. Right. Just send us some photos. So for anyone's listening, it'll cost
content for product.
There you go.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so there's more shit that we'll unpack, but I wanted to ask some stuff earlier on. We're 45 minutes in, so I better ask now. Wow. I wanted to know, I'm always interested what you guys were doing before you kind of did this. You mentioned you're a barista. You did something with
commercial real estate.
Commercial real estate, yeah. So
walking around in a suit like a loser.
When did you realize that we were to figure something out on our own? What point was that in your life?
Well, I don't want to big ourselves up here, right? But Tim and I had a lot of ideas sort of growing. We used to door knock.
Ideas, right? Man, eh?
Yeah, like the castle. But we were door knocking a lot, and you get rejected from a door, and it was funny walking around together. You'd be like, "What a fuckwit!" That guy that told us to piss off. But anyway, there's a big sandwich craze that's happening in Melbourne right now. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Oh, yeah, and Sydney alone.
So I think
sandwiches everywhere.
Yeah, sandwiches it's that new deli, the toasties and stuff like that, or whatever it is.
I think Melbourne's very much a lot more like foodie culture.
Yeah, it's very cool. I agree with that. Sorry, shit, did I say that out loud? But the point I'm trying to get is that Tim and I had we had 3 or 4 ideas, right? That, like I said, we were kind of almost too immature to get off the ground or whatever we were doing.
Did you guys get what's the shiny object syndrome? You're like, yeah, fuck, let's do this.
Correct.
Let's do that.
Exactly like that. I think the right idea sort of not fell in our lap because that's sort of giving someone else too much credit, but it was the right time, the right idea. We're in a position where we could go bang, bang, bang. We're set up, your parents, you guys as a family had bought a cafe.
Yeah.
I was in a secure job. So I think it was the right idea, right?
He knows. Talk to me.
Yeah. I can see it.
But it was the right idea that sort of like. And
I'm only saying it because people won't hear it. People be like, it's the audio shit.
Right idea, right time.
For me, it was I had my whole journey through the cafe life.
Yeah.
So that was everything for me personally. So
could you be any more Melbourne?
I was early 20s. I was just getting buckled every weekend, and my parents were like, "How the fuck are we going to settle Tim down?" So they're like, let's buy a cafe that'll open up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he can open every day for 6 days a week. So it was a bit of a shock to the system for me. Mum was a teacher, Dad was in IT sales. Both really switched on people, and we all brought a cafe. Prior to that, I was bartending, doing whatever. Landscaping, carpentry, roof plumbing, fixing a mate's house, just whatever I could get enough for some beer money and everything else. So then I settled down, got the cafe. I hid in the dishwashing section for weeks. I was just too scared to go and serve everyone. And then someone called up sick and was like, there's no barista. Tim, you're the only one that's got half an idea about a coffee machine compared to me and your mum. So his dad said that. And then made coffee all day, fucked it all up. Next day, I was a pretty good barista. So dived in the deep end, and then
that's why Melbourne coffee's so good.
Yeah. And then I started taking over social media to try to bring more people in. And then we redid the menu because the margins were really poor. Everything was too cheap but too expensive. Our chef was terrible and overserved everything. So then I started learning about margins, social media, marketing, and then I was like, oh, this is an amazing platform to learn. And I'd finally chilled out a bit. So, Dad, how does it work? With the payroll? What are the margins on kombucha? Why do we get so many flavors if we never sell them during winter? Good point. Let's fuck that off and let's do our own juices. Apples are 60 cents each. We sell a juice for $7. Let's do more apple juice, fuck kombucha. And, so I'm 23, 24, 25. And then it was a 35-seated cafe. And we learned that a lot of people were coming in with prams or groups, but it was too small. So we need to expand, build it and they will come. We've built a name. Everyone loves it.
We're going to say no babies in here.
Yeah, but everyone loves it's a family business. So like, hey, Dad, can you please look after this person? Oh, that's your dad. Oh, so we started selling our story, and everyone started, migrating from the trendy cafes to the family cafe that grew up in the area and respected everyone and would round down your bill or give someone a free coffee if they couldn't afford it. We became a bit of an institution in the area. Then,
what area is this in Melbourne?
This is in
if you want a
Essendon.
free coffee, go there because that's how I got no money.
This is in Essendon, in between sort of the airport and the city. It's a great little suburb.
And then
if it's not an AFL team, I've probably never heard of the suburb.
Yeah. There you go. But then we took over a room behind us, in front of us, left of us. We took over, built a courtyard, got a license. We do burgers at 5 o'clock Friday nights, 5 till 10. We do 21st, everything. We moved into the alcohol model. Way better margins, less staff, less, you don't need 2 baristas. So think about all the things I'm learning here. And that transition really quickly into a lot of what I brought to Bae Juice. Through all the margins and learning, and then Dad helping and all the consulting and talking to everyone at the cafe and using that as market research. And that was my foundation for realizing I actually sort of know a lot about these little things and I was willing to learn about them. And for me, that's how I build everything that I like, all the little bits and pieces that I can offer.
You mentioned you chilled out a bit. Now, a little birdie told me that while you're in school, you got kicked out of a pretty prestigious school.
Google it, mate.
Don't give me that. This is my studio.
Touche.
You've probably told it before, but give us the summary version of how do you get kicked out of this school? You're a bit of a...
Well, my parents wanted to get me out of the country, so they sent me to New Zealand with my school to go skiing during winter.
This is plan A. Plan B was buy a cafe.
Plan A. So they kicked me off to New Zealand. They thought it'd straighten me out and I'd be surrounded by teachers and they'd get rid of me. And we just had this big kleptomaniac 2 or 3 days and we just started shoplifting so much shit just because we were bored, we're snowing, skiing and doing
model.
this.
Yeah.
So
good margins.
Great margins.
So
she moved to the US. They don't mind about that now.
So started nicking jackets. On the last day, she pulled us off the bus, going, everyone empty your bags. We had shit everywhere. New Zealand police escorted us back to the camp. We had bins for every store we'd stolen from. Come down the escalators, Tullamarine Airport in Melbourne. My parents are standing there along with a ton of press. We fucking fang home. Next morning, Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 10, prestigious Xavier College students
at the customs.
Shoplifting, $19,000 free, $7,000 free, $30,000 free. There's 4 different numbers.
Because when you go to a private school, the first thing they mentioned in the article is how much it costs to go there a year.
Of course. So then 30 of us stole, 4 of us got expelled because they didn't have the best track record, and then I got denied from about 4 local schools.
Wow.
Had to have some family friends vouch for us at a half decent one and finish my time there.
And then if I can continue on for that, sorry, the reason I went into real estate was because I was a little shit and I was like, how can I get rich quickly without going to uni?
I want to wear a suit every day. I want to have a fancy car.
Exactly. On my wage on lunch.
I can go to the REIV, which is similar for every state, and I can do a 1-week course and I can get qualified. Done 1 week.
Yes, that's good.
I'll go to 2 days of that. Literally. And then it's like you get a job and like where I got employed, they were like, if you had a uni degree, you'd be like, Matt, you're way too overqualified to work here, right?
So did you try uni? Did you do uni at all?
3 days I went to.
I was lasted like 3 months.
That's a good effort. That's a very good effort. But that's the reason. And then you get there and you go, wow, there's a lot of people that are way more driven, a lot more passionate about this. And at the end of the day, selling is all about passion for me. It's just like, that's what I said. What I said earlier is, well, people invest in Tim and I more so than the business because they can see us, biting, for the right, going for it, trying to steal, mic air, the air off each other, right? And it's just like that. I got there and I was like, I love it, but I'm not going to get anywhere in this place because there's that many more people than me.
It's hard to outperform if you don't care about something.
They just want it more.
Spot on. Well summarised.
They want it more.
Spot on.
That's probably the undiagnosed ADD as well.
Yeah.
If you're not
what's that on the wall over there?
I want to talk to you about some other stuff. Now, I don't know how long you've been doing this. It's new to me because I don't know. I just come across you guys in the last couple of months. But this whole new content strategy seems like a lot of fun, right? Is that something new? Is that something you've been doing for a couple of years?
Very, very new.
Tell me about that. Like really fun. You got the podcast pre-drinks, which you launched a couple months ago. You've got your pink overalls, as I mentioned earlier. Pretty fun stuff. Talk us through kind of how you thought of the idea and the execution, what it looks like.
We actually had a good friend of ours, Matt, who's really a great marketing brain. We caught up with him, had a beer, chat, and he's just like, look, I'm not going to lie. You guys have really let slip. You're just this boring commercial brand now. You post photos of Woolworths on shelves. You talk about how it helps. He's like, man, you guys are a party brand. You guys can get away with fucking anything.
Yes.
He's like, just go for it. He goes, the reason I fell in love with Bae Juice and you guys is because your personalities came out in the brand at the start. Through your PR, through your cheek, through podcasts you featured on, you gave all your energy and stuff. How can you transition that into the brand? So we're fighting around. We had the pink jumpsuits for Good Food and Wine Show. So just expos, jumping around. Everyone was frothing it.
They look so sick, man.
They are nice. We went to a lot of effort to get them.
Man,
expensive to dry clean.
Yeah. The one time we've done last 18 months. And then we did one video because we was bored and we were wearing the suits and we had them. Let's just chuck them on and fart around and got a few thousand views. I'm like, a few thousand views is better than getting 11 likes of a cool photo, with the film camera at a house party and shit. Let's just flog a couple of videos. And then we started thinking about some good ideas and then people are messaging us going, this is great. What's next?
How recently was this? Like, give me a month. Was it last year at some point?
Back into last year?
Yeah, I reckon, August, September last year.
Yeah, I reckon. And then we started doing a couple and then a couple more and everyone started getting around it. And then we were like, so we brought all the socials in-house that we're talking about, bringing it all in. So
you had an agency doing some of that stuff for you?
A while ago, early last year we did. Mm-hmm. And then I do all the socials now and I was just like, fuck, I'll do anything for some extra content, like anything. So yeah, you do a video, that's one a week. 7 days in a week, you got one video. So what else can we do? So we started pumping it out more. We started not giving a shit about what we were pumping out as well.
And do you guys have some fun with this? Like, do you ever get a call from
awesome. We have a bloody ball, man.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, we love doing it together and there's no right or wrong and it's just, it all comes together and it's ad hoc or we plan some, whatever. And I was like, this is working for me behind the content, the engagement. It's very on brand. It's cheeky. So we give reference to our product in the stores in a really nice, subtle way. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, let's do this podcast. And we've always wanted to do it.
The idea around the podcast was like we have a laugh and we obviously talk a lot of shop in the car. So it's like, imagine if there was a mic in the car right now listening to it. So let's do that. So like the first couple of episodes, Tim's walking out of it going, what did we talk about just then? And I said, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I love that. But super worried.
Yeah. Do you ever get
after the edit? It's really going to be good.
Are you ever worried about you're going to get a call from Woolworths, be like, hey boys, reel that back 10%?
At the end of the day,
it's not like risque. It's just fucking silly.
Because we believe what we're doing is going to sell more product. It definitely make more money. You'll hear nothing.
It's still a little bit topical as well. Like it's kind of what's trending and people talking about it.
We're not doing anything R-rate. We're just we're not doing anything that's worth jail time. Yet.
But since
stealing ski jackets.
But momentum's a beautiful thing.
Sure.
So we started seeing a few thousand views on it and shares and then people we know in marketing or people being connected to us going out of their way to be like, hey guys, just quickly, what you're doing is working, double down, great job. Some really high thinkers and analytical people and marketers are going out of their way to message us going, hey, watching what you're doing.
That's why I reached out and I'm like, it's so fucking fun. It's cool. Like that's what made me pay attention and realize.
Awesome. That's the ticket. Yeah.
Ultimately, we spoke to a guy called Jake Carls who has a massive business with his sister and brother-in-law called Midday Squares.
Oh, yeah.
You would have right.
It's mental.
And he just said to us one day, he goes, I want people to go into a store and go, I know that guy. Yeah. I'm going to buy the product. So that's kind of trying to without stealing it. And that's kind of where we're trying to get to.
That's
we want people
to 23 and it's going to be all 24. You were talking to Yui, who's the man behind the camera today about, you've seen some of his content. That's,
exactly.
That's the most powerful way to promote a brand, to launch a brand. Like you can't just start and be like, I'm going to spend 30 grand on Facebook ads this month. Expect people to pay attention.
Yeah. Well, that content's transitioned into our Facebook ads, transitioned into an entire TikTok strategy.
Exactly is the foundation. And then you see what works and what pops. And then you got data before you go and start putting some message, paid money behind it.
It just keeps us relevant, keeps us relevant. And at the end of the day, people don't have to go in to Woolies and go, that's Liam and Tim. They go, I've seen those pink suits before. You know what I mean? Bang, I'm going to put two in the basket.
But also one thing that's really important to us is product position. So we did that cheeky thing where we poured Bae Juice into a $1,200 bottle of Grange yesterday saying this is how you should drink fancy wine to avoid a hangover. You pour some out, you put Bae Juice in, you drink it, you'll get no hangover. And everyone's having a fucking heart attack.
Yeah.
But product position-wise, you're consuming Bae Juice with alcohol. But it's completely mixed in the message and us being fuckwits.
It's not obvious.
Do you guys have your own TikTok?
No,
You just need to make your own TikTok.
I did, and I started doing some videos, and I was loving it. But then now I'm like, I just want to go all in on. Like, I don't know. I spend so much time on the screen. It's starting to really fuck with me a bit.
You just post the same thing you're posting on Instagram, and like on average, you're going to get 4 or 5
times. Do you mean personally or Bae Juice?
No, Bae Juice.
Oh no, you were smashing it. Yeah.
No, because I thought you said you've got people doing hashtags, but you don't have.
No. So we're doing now. So we're doing fucking morning, lunch, and night. Just trying to fucking blam.
So yeah, on both.
Morning, lunch, and night. Morning, lunch. You mean breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Breakfast, lunch, and sunset.
Yeah. So no, we're trying to crunch it.
Okay, you are,
and it's all transitioning into each other, and
you fucking idiot.
But it's working. We love it, and it's important that we have that. Like even with the Hilux stuff, it did make. So we're running over Bae Juice, but the idea is Bae Juice is going to protect you from a night out. So there's still these little mini messages. We're not just being dickheads.
No, of course.
We're doing both.
What's
and
been
how
the
many
best?
people messaged yesterday being like, please tell me that wasn't a real bottle of Granger.
Yeah. We're keeping our lips sealed.
Stay tuned to find out.
Yeah, fuck. Well, either way, $1,200 bottle, you got to make sure it's going to good use.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's for
20,000 views. Play on.
I was going to ask you that. What's been your best or like most successful video marketing strategy? Like what's been like the fucking golden ticket?
The launch of the podcast.
The podcast, yeah.
Because we've featured on a lot. We've had our articles and we've always had a little bit of a profile or presence being the Bae Juice guys and just going for it and really being vulnerable and telling our story a lot over the course of time. When we came out in our pink suits and did 3 different promo videos going, we're finally going to launch a podcast about fun shit. Like that was kind of like, everyone's like, oh, like, fuck yeah, like cool. Like, no, I don't reckon to me being like, oh, you know, and then it's in that fun realm and we're being dickheads. So I think, that was definitely the start of it, not just views wise, but being like on people's radar that from here on out, there's going to be tons of content of us doing dumb shit. So I think that was a really nice catalyst and it got really good responses, people sharing it, people hitting us up. When's it launch? Can't wait. So it's just that little side engagement that comes in from it that you don't usually get. But when people are messaging you that like you're friends with, but you don't text each other much. Hey, mate, love the podcast. When's the next one coming out? Or replying to stories, being like, ha, and talking about something 40 minutes in. Like, oh, what the fuck? People actually listening to this and engaging with what we're doing. And we put so much effort into it and time and money to get all those responses and stuff like that. I was like, fuck yeah.
One of my favorite videos is at the bowls with that old
that is all time. So we play bowls at that club.
Yeah.
We were going to stay in Sydney for the night, but we're going to play bowls in the morning. So we're going to fly that. We're going to get the red eye.
The red eye.
The red eye to get back. I don't know if 8 o'clock's the red eye. But close enough.
Don't tell them they didn't know.
It's red enough.
Everyone's going to be tracking your flight. One of the really fun things you guys do with the podcast, I think it's hilarious, is like you read out and discuss like your 1-star reviews.
Yes.
Great idea. What's one that is? Do you have any that sticks out? I know you usually would have them in front of you. Is there any? Do you have a favorite or the funniest one-star
we have some fucking stupid ones, obviously. Like some really so people obviously have really high expectations, or they think it's the purpose of the product is something completely different. I think I know the one you're going to say.
Yeah, but you go.
You say.
Okay. Well, someone's message us going, I'm allergic to pears. But I brought your product anyway. I regret it. Shouldn't have done it.
I had a little reaction.
It's just like, how does that come to? I think they're getting egged on by us reading and maybe.
See, one thing, I use like kind of encouraging 1-star reviews.
And we were like, bring it on. Fuck it. A little bit.
The best 2-star rated brand.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, honestly, any brand owner will know this. Like if you get a bad review, you don't have to publish it on your website.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What?
We publish all of that. That's why they're only 5 stars. But I mean,
but I'll give some credit to our production team that does the podcast with us. We're literally a team, and we digested all this stuff, and we were a bit like, oh, I don't know, and they're like, nah, man, like this is authenticity at its finest as a brand owner. Brand owners will get it, and people that aren't brand owners will respect that. You're just going fuck. We got fucking 1-star reviews, and people roasting us every week and stuff like that. But that was the idea. It's funny and hilarious. but there's the authenticity side of it, which is weird, but which is really important to us.
And so how do you plan out an episode? Like, obviously when I'm doing this once a week, I've got a guest, you know, I can't come out with some sort of angle and go down. What do you guys, how do you plan, or do you just sit down and be like,
No, it's how's your week, love or hate, just to give a bit of personality to two of us and people getting familiar with our voices, and we move into our sort of segments.
Yeah, like Tim and I, obviously we spend a lot of time during the week with each other. So you get on the podcast, you're like, how's your week been? You're like, mate, you've been with me the whole time, right? But like we've only just recently just sort of, because obviously we text a lot, but we've only just set up a little WhatsApp group between just Tim and I again, which is like where we can just, brain dump stuff in. And then, there's like, it's very segmented. So it's like, we need something for this, we need something for that. Like this, the latest one we did where it's like, because obviously I'm not bigging us up here. We've run out of like 1-star reviews for our product.
We did smash them out.
Right? Yeah. But we've just gone, let's look at, our producer goes, I just drove past a brothel, right? And I wondered, does anyone leave reviews for this? And so we've gone.
There were some great reviews with their full names.
Full names.
That's great.
That's fucked.
Tim O'Sullivan said, had a great time. So,
thanks, Cindy.
So, and then we read out reviews recently about our local Macca's.
Soon, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a 5:30. But then we like read out local reviews from our Macca's where Tim used to work.
I was a Macca's alumni as well.
Really? Yeah. Can I ask whereabouts were you working?
Preston's McDonald's, not Preston.
But what were you doing? Like,
mate, I was the back area manager, mate.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you could actually own a McDonald's now, Ricky, because if you want to own a McDonald's, you have to have worked there and managed a joint.
And I didn't manage it. I was just the king of
the burgers.
King of the little shits in the back. Funny story, not a lot of people know. I actually got fired from Macca's. Rehired. There's a little bit of controversy, but I've never really been good at I've never been good with authority if I don't respect the person. And like, let's just say you've worked at Macca's. I guarantee some people listening have worked at Macca's.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're named like the back area manager, right? You feel like no one can tell you what to do. Just because I'm not an official trained crew trainer doesn't mean there's any sort of hierarchy. Some person from front area who's a crew trainer might have thought they could tell me what to do, and I told them otherwise.
Weren't having it.
No, I wasn't having it. So shout out to the Macca's crew. Now,
we love the Macca's.
We've gone everywhere, all over in this thing. What you mentioned earlier, like when you first launched the Bae Juice, was like green and yellow, real natural. I want to know, from that first batch to now, what has changed as anything, like tell me some of the big things that changed. The packaging, have you changed your formula for the juice? It's only 100% juice. I don't know if you can really change that, but what sort of changed and evolved like over the past 5 years?
We always laugh about it because we went all sciencey at the start.
Oh, you went that approach.
And then we're talking about DHM and detoxification and where the enzymes place and how you find it. And then we were like, not very compliant because there wasn't like enough science to back everything we said. So we're like, okay, what should we do? Drink this before alcohol. And what do you think consumers are going? All right, sweet, done. So we put it on the front of the packaging.
Why didn't you say sooner?
We put it on our website. And now it's just everywhere. It says drink this before alcohol. We're not saying it's a cure or anything.
And then we
just simplify, and it changed everything.
We had like wellness after badness on the.
It sounds nice, but it's very confusing.
But then now it's like Bae before you play, and obviously the pear juice is the pear
simple.
juice.
So did you guys have like in the early days, if you went down that route, like you got to comply with like the ARTG, like what you can say and stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But
we didn't think we did, but we found out we had to.
That's our mantra was early days we're getting sort of pulled in every direction. You can't say this, you can't say, you can't. Let's just say what we want, and then we'll get pulled up eventually. It'll be a little slap on the wrist. They're not going to shut the doors to the manufacturing facility by no stretch. So that's what we kind of spent the first 18 months saying. Tick green, like a tick on the front of the packaging saying reduces hangover symptoms. You can't say that.
No. You can't
even say that. But there's the CSIRO fucking article.
Yeah. Well, then they update their website every 5 years. So anything that's sort of collecting dust, they ditch and then sort of replace. So then more recently, that's just sort of done its time.
Because so many journos were hitting him up for comments. Because they're going, tell the CSIRO, mate. Just check it out.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. No change of formulas, just simplified our packaging really.
Yeah. Messaging is really important as well. And I think quantifying what you're giving someone for a prize, I think that's something that,
for sure.
A lot of people start brands. And actually another thing I want to talk about. I had this in my list, but we've completely gone off the list. Now, you guys, right? How long until you went full time before you were able to quit your jobs?
Oh, like years, 4.5 years.
Yeah, and when did you start getting paid? A few years in, right?
Yeah, 4.5 years. Yeah.
So many people.
We quit our jobs when we could pay ourselves. We were like, let's not make any money for a bit.
This is a multi-million-dollar brand as well. Like the sky's the limit in terms of distribution.
By the way, we still pay ourselves bugger all.
Oh, of course. Yeah, 40 grand on paper, baby.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hello to BTO.
No. People, my point with this is like, people, if they're not making bank profit in month 1 or 2, they give up. If you got like, what was it for you guys that like, you've obviously had belief in this product. What is it? How do you, continue to go through this year on year, month after month and put on all the work, like put in the grind, still shop and you're having fun when like a lot of people would give up sooner? What made you get through all that period? And was there any self-doubt at any stage? It's like, fuck, we might be selling a lot, but is there, it's like a true business model in this when I can make enough profit to pay myself and grow at the same time? Like, was there any head noise around that stuff?
Well, I think there is, but like at the end of the day, like sales are good, but early doors, you want the sales to be better, obviously. So we are spending a lot of profit on things that you might have to spend 15 years in. So we're doing some, we're still trialing and erroring like stuff. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. And then obviously we've got the US launch as well. Like, so our business is still in Australia would be profitable without the US launch. It's why we're going to raise money right now. So, like it's, people used to tell us, oh, you won't make any money for the first 12 months and be like, oh, piss off. We're 5 years in. We're only just starting to make, to turn
so
profit.
Funny, right? Yeah.
For me, I think sometimes as well, when you think of ideas, you try to think of an idea no one's thought about, right? And you can't buy anywhere else. And you can sit there and rattle your brain for months, like just trying to think of a gadget or a drink or something in fashion. It's pretty hard to find something that isn't being sold or done or innovative. So early days, we were like, there's just nothing else like this. And when we were pitching retailers, they said to us, we don't know what category you belong in. Like you guys are currently like it confused people and you could read it as negative, but right now you don't belong anywhere. But that was so powerful without us understanding. So then we're in Dan Murphy's, we're in petrol and convenience stores, we're in cafes, we're in wellness stores. So that just created this whole extra realm for us to be approachable in. If you're in beer, you're in bottle shops. You know what I mean? Your nappies in your supermarkets, but we can be in bottle shops, supermarkets, pharmacies, tanning salons, nail salons, because you're about to go out. We can collab with anyone. We can collab with any alcohol brand, any festival, because it's Absolute versus Smirnoff at a festival, right? Or it's vodka soda and versus grain shaker. We never verse anyone. So that was when like we are in our own lane here and we have currently got this whole market position. Whoa.
Well, that's the other, but to add on to that, it's like, how do you value your business? Because we can't say we're an orange juice and the orange juice market's worth X amount and we've got 20% of it because we go, well, we're kind of in juice, but we're also on the counter. So like, we're going good.
We're killing it.
Where of all those segments, like where do you see, like where do you sell the best? Like maybe not the most because obviously you might be in way more groceries than fucking whatever. But of those kind of like platforms, whether it be servos or, bottle-os or...
Like really we sell the best in groceries, which is where we shouldn't sell the best, but we do just only because of the distribution that we've got there, right?
Yeah.
Like if we're in 1,000... Yeah, but that's the other thing. If you walk into a Dan Murphy's tonight and then you walk into a Woolies next to it, there'll be that many more people in Woolies than there will be in the Dan Murphy's, right? So it's just a foot traffic thing. That's why what Tim said before about sort of our marketing angle and getting a bit stale and commercial. So we spend a lot of time saying, we're in Dan Murphy's, we're in Woolies. We've been going, you don't need to tell people you're in those stores. There's a lot of people in those stores already. How do we sell them when they're in there, right? So
and you've recently, was it, like your visual merchandising looks really good.
Bang. That's one of the big keys.
Everything. That's
anyone
the most
who's
thing
not
we put
doing
money
that
into.
is a moron.
Wow.
By a mile, by that. That's the next thing we put money is half that.
Wow.
In terms of
we
marketing,
spend a lot of money
ads.
a month on that.
So when did you guys come out with these new kind of fucking stands and whatnot? Like,
well, that's the thing. That's the evolution of that is as well. It's like we had these big sort of bulky displays, bins that you just dump it in. The product doesn't really look good in them.
Yeah.
Right. And then
they sucked actually.
That was shit. Right. And then we're sort of getting those into Dan Murphy's, which is fine because it's large format retail. But then we're in a lot of BWSs and a lot of BWSs are going, I want to put that in, but I've got no space for it, right?
Yeah.
So then it's go, right, evolve, change the sizing of it. Then bang. What did we didn't do last time? More messaging on there, right? So it's all shelving now. So that's one of the things we've done as well. And
Game changer.
Yeah, game changer. Like honestly, just skyrocketed our business in terms of sales in retail.
Yeah, a lot of people will think of like that as like when they're moving into retail, oh, that's just another additional cost. They don't realize maybe the importance of
Well, I think one of the issues is like, I imagine if we were just starting out and we saw Bae Juice there and we're going, geez, how much did they spend to get that in there?
Yeah, true.
You don't need to go to, and I'm giving away the secrets here. So block your ears if you've got a competitive brand right now. But it's a manager of the store's decision. You don't need to go to head office.
Okay, really?
No, honestly. Like
11 herbs and spices right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So you're welcome.
Write that one down.
Yeah. But that's the game changer. So in our local Woolies, we have a display that's about 12 boxes long at the bottom of the grab and go section. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you can see it from a mile away, but we just buy it a lot.
So that's better for you guys than, say, using that money and running ads.
A mix, like a mixture. Like, it's still a fine balance, but it's better than running a whole outdoor campaign or doing, like I said, billboards.
You guys have done buses
or doing
and billboards.
The issue with running ads versus what we're doing merchandising is we buy data off Woolies. So we can go, we're going to do this activation in these 10 stores, right? 2 weeks later, we check the data and go, wow, the sales spiked, right? Obviously, that's because we did these off-location, opportunities for the consumer to buy, right? Whereas we can do an ad and go, well, a lot of people saw it in Surrey Hills in Sydney and the sales went up in the Surrey Hills Woolies there, but we don't know if that was because we did that, because so it's like it's much easier to analyze and sort of come to a conclusion about because we did that, whereas if you buy online, you can be like, I know where you woke up. I know what your fucking email is. I know what day you're born. I know what hospital and what wing you're born in. But it's like that, but you can't do that with retail.
Yeah. I know how many times you unlocked your phone that day.
Yeah, exactly.
That sort of stuff.
Yeah. So it's interesting. There you go.
So I wanted to ask you about some like the other side of business now. Like, everyone knows, like, you guys are known as, like, these laid back guys, every now and then might even get a little bit loose. If you ask certain people, I wouldn't have that opinion of you guys, but also a part of business, and I think you guys have spoken a little bit about this, but I want to get to know kind of where your head is. Like, you can't be in business for 5-6 years and not have some sort of relationship to personal development, to growth, to like leveling up your lives, right? Because otherwise your business is a reflection of yourself. Everyone knows that. What has your experience been with that as two guys who people might look at and be like, oh, they're just a couple of larrikins, and you guys love to have fun, but has there been an element of you guys going on like a personal development journey at the same time?
Yeah, for sure. So I
won't admit it on a podcast.
Yeah, but I sort of said this the other day accidentally. It's a perfect word to say, but we've got a bunch of advisors and they've been helping us for the last 12 to 18 months, from marketing to analytics to measuring things, or what outcome does that have? How are you reading this? Why are you doing that? Is that the best use of your time? Can you get someone else to do it? Like, just constantly like that? And we're not working with them as much at the moment. I'm like, we've kind of graduated. Like in a really weird way, we've kind of graduated from all the lessons over 18 months from an advisor, and we have completely matured with our decision making. So the reason we're not doing outdoor is because how do we measure? Well, we can't. What can we measure? This. Let's invest in that. Let's see what the outcome was. That's fantastic. Let's do that more. And that's us doing this. That's not us checking with people, is this a good idea anymore? But at the start, we're going fucking billboards, buses, ambassadors. Let's do influence campaign without measuring anything and doing no attribute tags and not even resharing it. Done. Let's do that. Min, awesome. She's cool. He's hot. Let's do that. Like we did that at the start, and it was like brandy, like excitement. But now we say to each other, oh, do you reckon that's the best use of our time? And you're like, oh, look at us, go us. We're growing up.
Really important question.
But we genuinely do. And I feel it when we think and we decide and we do things, and the way we talk to people, and we're just a lot more channeled. And we have that beautiful alter ego that's just absolutely hammering the brand. But behind the scenes, we're going, how are we measuring us being a dickhead? There you go. That's not a bad way to explain it.
What do you think the biggest mistake you guys have made, or like the biggest, fuck up?
We always talk about outsourcing a lot, but you nailed it before. We've always outsourced and then learned and brought it back in. So thanks to all the people that taught us it all.
That's the thing. It's like, we've made a lot of mistakes, but it's hard to say, like, I regret.
No, I didn't say anything about regret.
That's fair enough. Yeah, touche.
Yeah.
But,
I reckon,
another beer for the fun, gentlemen.
Just another fat yak, would you?
I reckon at the start, a mistake we probably made was thinking that it was probably just going to work out because we had a great brand and we had high energy and there's a cool product, and oh, wait, we've got to go to every store. Oh, wait, we need to get some cash. Oh, wait, we need to be doing shoots and content. Oh, right. We did sit there for about 6 months thinking we were fucking top dogs. And everything was going to magically happen. So we would have wasted 6 to 12 months just going with the flow. And then we're like, right, let's hammer down. And then as soon as we did that, like, whoa, look at this.
Sure.
So that was a good learning curve.
100%. Now, go on.
No.
Like I literally won't move forward until you say that much.
I think that's just like sums it up perfectly. Like there's many things where I think we waited probably like Tim said, 8 to 12 months to really go, right, retail. And because we went, after 6 months, we said, right, this is what we need to do retail-wise. We need to go store to store and we need to get 100 doors. Then that led to the Dan Murphy's trial. Then that led to the Woolies trial. So it's like probably set us back a little bit.
Yeah, but like you're just learning from your own mistakes and your own past experiences and trying to be a little bit better every time you do the next thing. And like I think a big fucking part of like the message for anyone listening to you guys is just like, bro, you really have to create momentum. It won't happen just by, sending an email to a couple of stores. Like you have to force that shit to happen. And people just want to sit back and switch on an ads and build a website and be like, where's my money? It's not fucking like that. It's not, unfortunately. I wish it was.
But the good part and the reassuring things to people listening is that if you do that for 3 or 4 years, then you find your role, you find your rhythm, and you can take a day off. You don't get days off at the start, but now we have got our roles in ops and marketing, and we can go to Sydney and catch up with you and meet some crews and have a
day
beer.
off. And Sydney do a podcast.
We had our first margarita at 11:45. But you can do that because we put in the hard yards. We've built an incredible team, an incredible system, and a really great operation, and now we can do that. So I think it's not like that forever. I think that's really important. So my missus she's been with me for a year, and I talk about the glory days of doing 70-hour weeks, and she's just like, can't picture it. Like, no, I did. Like I did it. Like I really have. But like, that was the craziness. But now we're smarter. We understand. We've graduated. So
and like
there's light at the end of the tunnel is the point.
I want to set like realistic expectations for people. So like I wanted to bring up your story and how it's like, you were working still your full-time jobs until 3-4 years in. I don't want to make it seem like it's always that way. Like for me, you'd say like, you're not going to we made a fucking shitload of money in the first year. Like it can be done. But just because you didn't do it in the first month or two doesn't mean give up and look for the next thing. Every time you're starting again isn't always the best. Like it's just like, I see it all the time because I do a lot of e-com mentoring as well. And I want to balance the expectations of, no, look, e-com can fucking change your life, a building brand can. But also if you haven't made life-changing profit in month 1 or 2, maybe you can stick it out and there's a future ahead. You know 100%. What I mean? Now, boys, we could talk for ages.
Oh my God, I know.
I want to wrap up. I want to ask one last question before we put a bow on this one. Now, you guys have the podcast. You're all having fun. Your business is about, a drink that you drink before you get on the drinks. From each of you guys, I'm putting you on the spot here, but I want one story about out on the town, out on the drinks. Give me something. What comes to head is in like let us just leave with a laugh or leave with something. We
can never go too far, but I was telling a story the other day about how I was dabbling in a few psychedelics and threw my car keys in the ocean. So I'll probably leave it there. But
that's a pretty good one.
That's a good one.
Do you have muck up day here in year 12? Well, we used to go to a pub after our muck up day, and I was sort of talking to a police officer who'd come and check out the pub to make sure we were all behaving ourselves. And then as I was talking, chewing his ear off for, reasons that will be left, in the dark, all my mates had gone to the house, and I just got in the back of it. I'm like, I've got to go now. He's like, you're going to a mate's house? I'm like, yeah. He's like, we'll give you a lift. And I was like, done, give me a lift. So I got back in the back of a divvy van in my school uniform, right in queue, and everyone was like, another Xavier boy up to no good.
Yeah, you felt like a boss.
You boys are repping.
I was like, at least cuff me before you put back in.
Too good.
You guys, as soon as you click alumni, you guys are the first two faces on the page.
If you want to hear more, listen to the Pre-Drinks podcast.
Good boy.
So apart from the Pre-Drinks podcast, anyone that wants to check out what you guys are doing, see the mad content you guys are doing, buy your products, where's the best place people can find you?
Woolies, Dance, BWS. More raw retailers to come, and then if you're in
online, better margins,
online, better margins.
And if you're in New York, well then jump on us.drinkpages.com.
And what's what's the idea of separating the two Instagrams? By the way, that's another thing I saw. So
we thought Super Bowl's coming up, Grand Finals coming up,
different time zones,
Memorial Day, Australia Day.
Oh shit! We don't say that.
So
what weekend we say now?
So we just didn't wanted to annoy everyone with different shit.
Fair.
Yeah.
And then we thought the US one needs a bit more educating right now than just crazy banter. But the TikToks are combined.
Yes.
In a way, we're starting again in the US. Yeah. And that's actually what excites us.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got a flight to catch. Thank you, boys, for coming on.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us.
It was so much fun. Anyway, guys, we'll leave it there.
Adios.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode or you got something out of it, do yourself a favor, do me a favor, do your friends a favor and share this with them, and they can come along on this journey with us. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.